would perceive as an advanced Korean food that you really like?
Cheonggukjang. I smell that and like, that's so good.
안녕하세요. Yo, what's up, everybody? This is Tae.
And this is Gibson, and welcome back to another episode of
Almost Korean.
All right, Tae, we have another very special guest on today.
Sir, we have our very special guest, Lanae. Thank you very much for coming to Almost Korean Podcast. Could you?
Thank you for having me. People may be wondering why I am on an Almost Korean podcast, but that will probably become apparent.
Can't you tell already?
Basically Korean.
Yes. Yeah, if you could just give us a quick, brief intro about yourself.
My name is Lanae. I founded and run South of Seoul, and I live here in South Korea. And I've been here for around 15 years. And yeah.
Lanae, could you tell us a little bit about South of Seoul? What exactly is that?
So South of Seoul is a volunteer organization, and this is, I think, our 10th year. And we support international residents living outside of Seoul. So we have almost no information on Seoul itself, but we are for people who are living in the countryside or living in secondary cities, have a lot less access to information and support.
Oh, wow. Okay, so that's geared towards actual stuff that's going to help you in daily life.
Yes, we're all about like daily living, dealing, with your health, dealing with finding groceries, buying cars, getting jobs, all of those types of things.
Like something more substantive than like, where's the Olive Young and
the
hottest cafe?
We honestly, I don't know if you can tell, but I am not super up on beauty trends. I cut my own hair. That's about it. I use sunscreen. So that's not our area of expertise. Thankfully, in South Korea, we have wonderful bloggers and vloggers and people who cover all of that information. So it's just not really a need. And so we're really focused on covering like the needs of people who are living here.
That's really interesting and also very helpful. I would imagine like people that do come across South of Seoul is going to feel like, hey, I found my answers here. So
yeah.
How would people find out about you guys?
So most people find us when they're Googling something in a crisis, because those are what our topics are on. You have a medical concern or a visa concern or a housing concern, and we have really niche information. And so they're looking at blog.southofseoul.net. In the last year, I kind of challenged myself to get out there more on social media. So I am actually now doing the Instagram and the Facebook stuff. For a long time, other volunteers handled that. But I have taken it on as a point of personal growth this year. So you can find us on Instagram, South of Seoul, and on Facebook.
Yeah. And,
wow.
Yeah. And that's how I found out about South of Seoul through social media. And I was like, oh, wow, this is such relevant information for people like me. Even though I am, almost Korean, I'm not familiar with how, everything's run in Korea, right? Like these administrative things. I was kind of lost in the beginning, and I think it's great that I checked out the blog, and it's very extensive. There's a lot of information.
Extensive. It's the minutia, and the minutia is what gets you. Those are the things that really hold people back in Korea. Is like there's something in Korea, a concept and a legal structure that people aren't aware of. Is when you come in, the English language discussion of Korea is that it's a Confucian society and everything is very the same. But in actuality, although there is a federal down approach to governance, there's something in Korea called semi-autonomous local governance, where each area is implementing vague laws locally. And so like Asan handles things differently than Pyeongtaek, than Yongin. And so if you don't have a local person who is aware of the local interpretation and you will have the wrong information.
It's almost like if you compare to the U.S., it's like knowing state laws and even municipal.
No, it's like county law. Like it's very local. And then each city is like there's Tukbilhan Shindoshi, which is like Pyeongtaek, Daejeon, Daegu, because Korea governs by population size, not area, not land. So governance changes as population changes.
Oh, that's right.
And so Seoul has completely different rules than Pyeongtaek.
So Incheon
is another 특별한 신도시.
That's so interesting.
So you really have to be aware of your local rules, and where for international residents the struggle is the media promotes what's happening in Seoul and they say that it's Korea, but it's just Seoul.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of what's going on in Seoul drives the Korean culture.
It's the testing ground.
Yeah.
That may or may not come out to us.
Yeah. So I think that's especially important for, people outside of Seoul that are living in Korea. We can be kind of forgotten, right? So I think this resource is super helpful. We just started our podcast, but if you guys are curious, check out South of Seoul. We're going to talk a little more about that. But I think we want to kind of learn a little more about you, your personal stories. And we always ask our guests, we want to know what was your life like before Korea and how did you end up in Korea?
So I was originally born in Alaska. I was born and raised up there. And I was born into like a subsistence off-grid family. So my parents built our cabin an 8-mile walk from at the time, about 150 person town. And so then it was like another 3.5 hours to a city where you could buy groceries or, like do anything. And so we also lived like on the tundra for part of the year and, in tents. So I grew up really close to the land, hunter-gatherer kind of lifestyle. And then, my parents my mom was kind of like from a Mennonite style family. And so she didn't believe in like pop culture or like TV or any of that kind of stuff. So I grew up completely separated from like American culture. More closely associated with like Alaskan indigenous cultures. And so that was very different. And then I went to school in Tennessee and then back to Alaska and then to Seattle and then to Alaska and then to Seattle. And then I was like, let's go to Korea.
How did you even hear about Korea in the first place? Because Korea wasn't...
Nobody knew anything about Korea.
Yeah.
They were hardcore into the north or south. And quite honestly, confused it with Vietnam.
Oh.
Because of the wars. Okay. They didn't know that they were like in very different places and had very different cultures. So it was very, I had my grandfather spent time in Russia. I had cousins in, my brother lived in Russia. My grandfather spent time in China. And my family had spent a lot of time in Kamchatka. And so like I was regionally aware. And then just randomly through Netflix, I found out that Korea had a lot of coffee shops and liked coffee. And there was a global economic collapse at the time. And I was looking for jobs teaching English because I like languages and wanted to study more. And Korea on the back end of the internet said they gave jobs to people and were like, we'll pay for your ticket and we'll give you health insurance and a house. And I thought, that's not true. And if I see something like that and I think that's not true, then brinkmanship, man. I'm gonna see if you'll really do that. And they really did that. And they bought me a ticket and gave me a job. And I came over here with just zero expectations or any idea of what could possibly be in Korea. Because I tried to do my research. I read a lot of history books. There was no information on now. There was information on the war. There were pictures online from like the 1980s. And like, back then, Korean tourism was like, here's a picture from the 80s and let us tell you about our tree. We got this great tree. It's like 200 years old. Next to it's a rock. And I'm serious. That was like all of it. It was like
maybe a palace or two.
No,
not even.
No, they were really into the trees and a cool rock. Like that was outside of Seoul. That was it. That's what we got.
I guess outside of Seoul.
So what was it like after coming to Korea? With zero expectation, because then everything is like forming new, right?
Korea was so friendly. Like when I got here, I lived in Sokcho, and I would go for coffee because, as I mentioned, it was my priority. And it would always come with cake. I'd be like, why did you just give me their service? Service.
Yes.
And every single coffee shop, it was like cake or ice cream or a waffle. Now my coffee was, ichonwon, samchonwon. The cake was ochonwon. So I'm like, how are you making money? And why am I getting cake? Finally, after like 6 weeks, I asked the lady, I said, why is everybody giving me cake? And she's like, you're alone.
And by the way, for those of you who are wondering, service means it's on the house.
It's on the house.
Service.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then now, in this case, they're giving a product that's more expensive than the coffee that Lanae is actually purchasing.
Yes. It's a far more expensive
Which
product.
is why totally acceptable, understandable that you're wondering why.
This is not an economic model.
Yeah.
And they're just like, we're just really worried about you because you're alone and you don't have friends. And I was like, thanks. But like, that's why I'm here. I like it. I'm vibing. The whole town there was a tourist who came from Denmark, and she and I hung out for a day, and everybody was very excited. Like the next day, they're like, you have a friend? You have a friend? You have a friend? I was like, I did for like 24 hours.
They were relieved.
They were so relieved. And actually, yeah. That's how I started getting connected into like other foreigners in the community. And I met a really nice Korean guy came out, and he's like, who spoke English, and we ran into them while we were out. He's like, yo, you need to come to my bar. Other foreigners hang out there. You can meet other people. So
Sokcho is known to have like a lot of nature, like natural beauty, a lot of mountains, and it's like really close to the 38th parallel line, right?
Yeah. It's above it. So as I had mentioned, it was the only place in the country you could play Pokemon Go because it was banned from Korea, but they banned it along the parallel. So if you got up there, you could have fun.
I remember there was like a craze in Korea, like all these Korean Pokemon Go players wanted to flock up there to play.
Yeah. It was a major,
That's so funny.
Major event.
So from Sokcho to Pyeongtaek, where we are right now, how did you end up here?
So, as you know, hagwons get a lot of hate because they're small. Even if they're a franchise, they're a family-run business. And it was a bad economy. So in Sokcho at the time, like I said, it was during the economic collapse, and Korea was still in that even in 2011. And so their hagwon was struggling. They didn't want to not pay me, so they were going to transfer me to another one of the hagwons in the same like brand. And so I was like, sure, no problem, makes sense. I want to get paid. I want to stay in Korea. So, but I did not want to leave Gangwon-do. Like I love Gangwon-do so much. It's everything I want to do in life. So I was like, I do not want to go over there. So I didn't have a choice, went over there, and I got off in Suwon Station, and a woman was like, are you Lanae? And I was like, yes. And she's like, I am not the person who's supposed to pick you up. I came to be here first because I want you to work at my school. And this is all in broken English. And she's like, I saw your resume. I need a teacher. I want you to work at my school. So get in the car. And that's it. So back then, we didn't even have access to like where the immigration offices were. Like if we just arrived, there was no like, here's how you can find immigration. There was no immigration support. You had to go with your wanjangnim to get anything handled. And I didn't have a car. I'd taken the subway one time, a bus 2 times. I hadn't really left Sokcho. So I'm like, I don't want to go back to the US. I like it here. So I got in the car. And I didn't know where I was going. I didn't know where she took me. And 3 days later, I got connected to the internet with Google and Google mapped myself and found out I was in Pyeongtaek.
So you didn't know where you were going. Just kind of went in blindly.
Completely blindly. I had it was a lot of human trafficking type stuff back then. And so like human rights was not even, it was not concept yet.
That's so hard to believe that you're like, okay, I just trust you, and I guess had a
I would
leap
have
of
been so
faith.
nervous.
I've spent a lot of time hitchhiking. I have gotten crazier cars. I once was in a VW van with a street clown, so I feel like this is better.
Wow. I mean, that's very brave.
So,
I mean, Korea is, one of the safer countries out there.
yes.
For sure.
But
still.
that's still, sounds like a beginning of a movie.
So, yeah.
That could go wrong.
It definitely could go wrong.
Yeah.
But pretty much everything in life can.
But you were safe. You didn't lose any organs.
No, it all turned out great. I
Okay.
got to the school. There were the previous school, I was the only foreign teacher.
Mm.
And so I got to this school and there were like 3 or 4 other foreign teachers there and they were fine. And so I said, let's do it. And funny enough, one of them was Lisa. We were in South of Seoul with.
Lisa is one of the
Mhm.
co-founders of South of
Mhm.
Seoul, right? So in 2011, how was Pyeongtaek then compared to now? More
First
farmland?
of all, we never saw the military.
Oh.
Unless nobody left the base area. And we couldn't really get to the base area.
Mm.
Unless, for some of us, because I was taller, they assumed I was military.
Oh.
So I'd be like, 안중읍, please. And they'd be like, 안중니? No. 안중읍. 안중니? Great, let's go. No! 군인 아는데. And they'd just ignore me. And they would take me to the base. And I'd be like, I don't live here. Please take me to Anjung. And so I went through that every time I came back to AK Plaza. They did not believe that I was a teacher in Anjung. So
that's where you were at.
And then I had a second problem that I moved to Songtan. Now, Songtan by the base is not Songtan. Songtan-dong is like in a different area.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It is just something the military say because at the time, they're making it more like a real place now.
Mm.
But it was the foreigners called Songtan, the area by Osan Air Force Base.
Mm-hmm.
But there was an actual Songtan-dong where I lived at my second school in Pyeongtaek. Okay? So I would get in there and I'd say, take me to Songtan-dong and give them my address. And they would take me to Osan.
To the Osan base.
Yeah, that is not quite Osan, actually.
And then I would be like, I want to go to Osan, which is the city.
Mm-hmm.
And they would take me to Osan base.
Air base, yeah.
So it was a very hard time where I was telling them in Korean, the correct Korean. But because I was a foreigner, they would take me to what the foreigners called other places that weren't those places.
Did you try to actually give them the actual address?
Well, once we had that option,
Yeah.
you think ajoshis were using those things back in the day?
Oh, yeah, you're right. Kyle taxi.
No.
Those navigation
Neighbor
on
map
their
back
panel, though. Yeah.
They did.
Yeah,
I felt
they
like a lot
did.
of them didn't
They
use
did.
it.
Yeah, they did. You would think
Yeah.
that would be a solution.
So
Also,
not quite,
yeah.
huh?
Also, they didn't have voice command back then.
No.
either.
It was very arduous. It was so slow and so hard.
Yeah.
So the easiest way is actually to give them a phone number,
Mm.
but I had a residential address. And they didn't believe that because I was the only foreigner in that area.
Oh, no way.
Wow.
So sometimes you would give them specifics, but they
man.
wouldn't believe it. So I would just ride in the car
hassle.
and then be like, "This, I mentioned this is not where I live," and then we'd have to drive back.
Oh my goodness.
So there weren't as many military personnel outside the base living.
They weren't allowed.
They weren't.
You had to live within 10 minutes of the base, and there was curfew.
Yeah, I heard about that.
So
Curfew was
So
there.
sometimes, like once I did go near base, they'd be like, "Oh, it's curfew," and we'd be like, "That's nice," and they'd be like, "You have to go." We don't have to go anywhere. I don't have to do
I don't have a
anything.
curfew.
This is for you. It's not for me. And they didn't in Pyeongtaek proper by AK Plaza. Most of the places said no military, so we could go. Military couldn't.
When were you here the first time?
2014.
2014.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah. But I'm pretty familiar with that time because my brother was actually stationed in Korea from 2009 to 12.
Okay. Yeah,
so
that
curfew was still in effect. It was still
was
a thing.
hectic.
Yeah. But as far as where you can live, though, I'm not sure about Osan, but we had a lot more leeway. It doesn't have to be within 10 minutes.
No. That's what they were saying at Humphreys.
Oh,
Because people, they couldn't live past Lotte.
Yeah.
The Lotte Towers.
Yeah, I think that
That
might
was
be a
the
little
stop.
bit off because it really depends on where the realtors are, where they establish business. So that has a lot to do with it. But yeah.
So in Pyeongtaek, you're teaching English,
Mhm.
and how did you even think about starting South of Seoul?
So they started talking about moving the base down.
Mm.
Okay. And I was not interested in doing any of this stuff that I do now at all. Not one inkling of a bit. Okay.
And you said South of Seoul
That's
started
comforting
like
to know.
about what? Like
10 years.
Right, 10 years. So 2016?
15. So
15?
yes, we're on our 11th year.
Yes.
Gotcha.
So I wanted nothing to do with it. I wasn't part of any Facebook groups. I was not part of anything. I lived in rural Korea by myself, hairy, just like taking the Korean immigration and integration program, learning Korean, like just minding my own business.
Mm-hmm.
But people started coming down at the beginning of that move.
Mm-hmm.
And we would go out and they were trying to bring restaurants down.
Mm-hmm.
No, they would be out of business in 3 months because people wouldn't walk around in front of the base to find them. And they'd be, oh, it's too scary to go inside. Nobody would try it. Nobody would go. So I'm like, I want these businesses here. Right? Like, it'd be nice to have a hamburger. It'd be nice to have a taco.
So they're coming down for like Itaewon? Or
for Itaewon, like the early days.
Yeah.
And I was like, I really want to support these businesses. And then I would go to these businesses and I'd hear the people next to us being like, oh man, I hate it here. There's nothing here. And, I want to do blah, blah, blah. I'd have to go all the way to Seoul. And I'm thinking, there's a shop that does that like 2 doors down. You just aren't reading the sign because it's in Korean. Everything that they were saying they were going to Seoul for was here in town. And I'm like, man, if we bring all of these people down here and we have no infrastructure for information when they arrive, that's a health and safety issue for women and children. Like, serious. Because they're in complete isolation, living off base. And they're thinking that, like, for their children's health appointments, the only option is to go all the way to Seoul. That's a health and safety issue if they can't get on base. Like this is, if you're talking about 40,000 people here with no information, that is a cultural catastrophe.
Right.
And the base and everybody was just not paying attention to this. Like, it was not their concern. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, I can't watch this happen. Like, and I have solutions because I was in like technology and business consulting before I came here. And so like I can build websites. So there was actually some Katusas who had a website and I was like trying to help them and get them to do it. And I was like, but you need this to be an app because they have to carry it around with them to find the places. Yeah. It can't be on a computer. So they're like, but it'll take all this money. I'm like, you can build an app in 2 weeks that'll do this. I was like, I'll build you a demo. And I was like, you don't even need money. I can build this free. I never done it.
But that sounds convincing enough.
Yeah. I just know it can be. Anything's possible. I did this with websites. I'm like, this is not that hard. So I did. I built an app in 2 weeks and put a bunch of information into it. And like some people tested it. And they're like, oh my gosh, we have to have this. And I was like, but I don't want to do it. And they're like, but you please. I was like, I don't want to do this. This is going to ruin my life. Because, like I'm living my happy, isolated, like we make kimchi. We just play around.
Just want to do your own thing.
Just want to do my own thing.
Yeah. But you saw a need there that needed to be done.
And it was like a very serious need. Like with the mental health crisis is real. And it was very, like, not to overstate it, but it was life or death for a lot of people to like not be in such serious depression and isolation. So I was like, okay, fine. I'll make some blogs. And that's actually how I connected with the gentlemen that were doing the website. They're like, oh my goodness, this is great information. And then I put, the app, and I'm like, well, if we do this, then we're gonna have to have a Facebook group to tell people about it. Everything I was mad about. I want to be clear. Every step of the way, I've been mad about it.
You're like just begrudgingly,
begrudgingly. And then I was like, well, if I have this information, other people, I don't want to have to tell people 2 times. I'm like the grumpy old man. So it's like, because people were like, tell me this. I don't want to tell you 4 times. Fine, I'll make more blogs.
So before South of Seoul was created, there were like Facebook groups, right?
There were. Were they helpful? No.
Not as.
It's like, hey, where can I get a burger? Let's just use, make up an example. By AK Plaza. I have a question. Which exit are you going out? What's that mean? 5-minute walk? 10-minute walk? What is by AK Plaza? But, just go out the front. What's the front? Just go out the front, cross the street, turn left at the CU, and then go right at the barbecue joint. Do you know how many CUs and barbecue joints are out the front?
Yeah.
Like, it's not how, like, people be like, I need a hospital. Oh, I go to one by AK Plaza. What's it called? I think it has a C in the name. It's like, come on, guys. So then I'm like, in my groups, I'm like, you will put an address or a neighbor link. Like, you just say, oh, yeah, I know a good one. I think it's red and in this neighborhood. That's not help. It's rude. If you can't provide an actionable link, you're just being like rude.
Not helpful.
It's not helpful.
Yeah.
So our groups have a lot of rules. Sorry, guys. But it's for a reason.
And I feel like a lot of these people ask the same question because such a transient place. People are going through the same.
It's the same questions and the same problems. Exactly. Every person has the same questions, the same problems, the same culture shock, with little variations. It's not a judgment. We've all been through it.
Yeah,
I did too. I mean, I don't have this information because I didn't go through it. But the hard thing here is that Korean culture is so completely different that people don't know the questions to ask. And so they're looking and asking about what they know, but you have to interpret it into what is here, and then give it back of like, you want this, but you need to hear, you have to have these 3 things to have that. Or here you're asking for these 3 things, but actually it's this one thing. So learning how to like reinterpret it back to people so that they have, because what they want and what will fill the need are sometimes a different thing.
So the app, is it still
apps in redevelopment?
Okay. I was trying to actually look for it before.
Go into a rebuild 2 years ago. It's almost finished, but 2 years ago I was asked to design an integration program for Pyeongtaek City.
Oh.
And I did that for 2 years. I wrote like curriculum and
request from the
local. So I was volunteering to lead like an integration program for 2 years. And I wrote a lot of books about that and like information. For example, what does that look like? We have a whole training on how to search for things in South Korea because everybody comes here and they're like, oh, get Naver. That is true. Everybody should get Naver. Okay, get Naver. And you're like, oh, great. Naver's in English. Naver is not in English. Naver is a Korean app with an English window. So the searching has to be done in Korean. Unless the businesses have put in English keywords or English information, Naver is not doing that because you can't search like AI translations. That's a translated thing.
So is that the limitation? Because I thought the app actually now supports English. You can have it in settings.
That is an interface. That is what you're seeing. It is not what the information is coded in that you search. Okay, so it's like Google, right? Everybody's entering their business information. If they've entered no English information, even if you're seeing that translated, that translation is not searchable. The translation is happening on your phone.
Gotcha.
It's not the database that's searching.
Okay.
So if you're trying to search, that database is in Korean. Those hashtags are in Korean. So you need to be searching in Korean. So how do you search in Korean if you don't speak Korean? Right? It's possible.
Yeah. I have to say, even with Naver Map, if you try to search things in English, it's kind of wonky.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a little
Like
weird.
there's no space, and
Yeah, you had to take out space. Then
it's weird.
you have to know to take out spaces. You have to know if you have the address. You can't have the building on the end. You have to know how to take off the building.
Yeah, it's not super clear.
It's
and how to
not
do
super
that.
clear.
Correct.
So
you're
we
right.
have like I have written out books on exactly all of these quirks on how Naver is built,
Oh my goodness.
so that you can overcome all of these, even if you don't speak Korean.
Wow. Okay.
I mean, it's really nuanced, but listen, it's affecting your whole life, so you might as well know the nuance.
Yeah.
You can't escape it.
Yeah,
Yeah, so like for us as almost Koreans, we can kind of bypass that because I ended up just using Korean to search things because it's just easier.
Which is great, but you don't know the slang.
Yeah, I don't actually. I don't know.
Okay, and that's what gets you. Because there's all of these niche slang hashtags
Oh my gosh.
that you can find on Instagram, but you need those to truly find the good stuff.
give us an example.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, let's just talk about restaurants.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you're looking for old people restaurants, you're searching 맛집.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Sure.
If you're looking for young people, hot place.
Okay.
Used to be as hot po, but it gets shorter and shorter and shorter.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
But you have to know, and then there's another one that I remember off the cuff while we're chatting. There's 3 to 4 of those I need to know for generations.
Yeah,
because we're divided by age.
That's
here.
true.
Yes. I learned about Nopo. Nopo is like older, kind of rundown restaurant, but now it's kind of coming back. Like,
I think it is because they have the better food.
Yeah.
The only food worth eating.
Yes.
Do not eat the chain Korean restaurants. It is sugar and it is bad. Sorry,
Yeah, a lot of
I probably shouldn't say that.
A lot of things are very sweet for no reason.
For no
that
reason.
Is very true.
I want yenal mat, or I don't want it. I want the savory.
Yes.
I want it to be tangy, savory, spicy. I want to rethink all of my choices.
Korea said no, sweet only.
Unless it's dessert.
Yeah, either that or just random spicy food. Because like sometimes you don't know, it doesn't see that on the menu. You get it. Why is it so spicy? This is supposed to be
why is a bowl of udon spicy?
And now my kids can't eat it. I got it for my kids.
It's like a spoonful of red spice on the bottom.
You guys. We just want to question our life choices. We want it that spicy.
Yes.
We wanted to it was a real struggle because Pyeongtaek's spice level has just dropped over the years. And so no, it's not a foreigner problem.
Oh.
I consider it a problem. No, this is just culturally. It's changed a lot in the cities. But so one of the things that we love about being in Gangwon-do is we go in and when we tell them to make it if we tell them less spicy, it's still going to absolutely destroy us. And that's what we want. That's what you want. Here, we're give us the top spice. And we're did you put anything in it? And up there, it's
Really?
They
It's
make
that
it
different.
it's completely different.
Okay.
I think it varies by certain restaurants too. Sometimes I want medium as super spicy, but sometimes it's not. So
yeah, it's but the flavors of food have just changed a lot. Just changed a lot.
It's definitely not a standard across. I've noticed that. Yeah, there's definitely some.
And every area is so different.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But it's still spicier than most spicy things in the U.S.
100%.
So it's funny because
I would agree.
This is a struggle I have as somebody who writes about food or posts about food.
Mm-hmm.
Is a lot of people will say to me, "Is this spicy?" And Harry and Lisa and I will sit down and be like,
subjective.
Did you notice any spice? And we're I can't remember any spice because it just tastes. I just remember it tasted good. And if I remember it tasted good, probably was spicy. But I can't taste the spice.
So you're pretty good with spicy.
We're very good with spicy food. Okay. But an interesting thing is Lisa went back to the U.S. for a while for school. When she came back, there's spice she can taste that we can't. And there's spice that we she'll eat it. She'll be this is crazy spicy. And we're it's not spicy. Oh. And then we'll eat another dish because we've just been continually in Korea. and we'll be like, "This is so spicy." She's like, "It's not spicy."
I guess there's like a different.
There's different
spice.
completely different, and we can't taste the other person's spicy sometimes.
Oh, that's weird.
Isn't that weird?
That is weird.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. It's I'm like, who knew?
Huh.
Well, I learned. Sorry, now we're on food. I was really confused because Americans will be like, Korean food is so salty, and Koreans will be like, American food is so salty.
Yeah.
Okay, both of them are like cha cha. Okay, and I'm like, why is this happening? And then I realized it's because we use different kinds of salt. I've always thought it was equally salty. Both of them are like wildly salty. But in Korea, they're using sea salt. And in the US, they use like a burning table salt. And they taste completely different.
You know what? That is true. They do have a different.
Completely different.
Also, a lot of Korean foods, not just even salt, they use a lot of soy sauce, fish sauce.
Right.
That's a different type
salt.
Of salt. Right.
Yeah, so like now when I have like the last time I went to America, all the food burned in my mouth from the salt.
Wow.
It was like a burning sensation. It wasn't like salty to me. It was like burning. Wow. Couldn't eat it, actually.
I feel like I generally notice the saltiness a little bit more in American food. But yeah.
And there's also, and American doesn't balance the salt. They don't add the sugar to balance the salt. So I think sometimes it's that, where it's like, it's not that it's more salty, it's that it's missing sugar.
I can see that.
So it's like, for me, I was just like confused. I'm like, I'm eating both y'all's food.
That's like how
and it's kind of equal to me. Then I was like, then I started like watching the show. So I was like, oh, and I tested it out. I was like,
that's funny. Just like the Koreans don't balance the sugar.
I mean, well,
right?
Koreans also love the danjak, like the sweet and salty, the sweet and savory. So
it's like when I learned that the really good baekgimchi, they make it with cider.
Oh yeah,
Give it a little, they pour the cider over it right before they serve it, and I was like, oh, that's how you get it, like just right.
Sometimes I think they do that with gakdugi too. Certain places. Yeah. That's so interesting. So I know you like talk about Gangwon-do. What do you like about Gangwon-do that maybe Pyeongtaek doesn't have?
Number one, I prefer the accent. I understand it better.
Oh, really?
I know they have like Koreans like Gangwon-do has such a thick accent. I'm like, oh, I can understand people in Gangwon-do. Like Pyeongtaek accent is very hard for me.
Really?
And also like in Gangwon-do, like people are just like super chill. They're not like social climbers, right? It's more like long-haired artsy types, or like farmers and people who like hiking and, fishermen. And, one time I ran into an older gentleman in Sokcho, and we were talking about living there. And he was like, oh, don't you, do you go to Seoul often? I was like, no, why would I go there? And he's like, exactly. There's no reason to go over there. It's so much nicer here. And I was like, yeah. They're like, over there, it's like, oh man, why are they so busy and rushing around? And like, what about life and smelling the roses and, chilling out? So
it makes sense if we like know a little more about you. You grew up in like, I guess, remote like Alaska. And that's probably similar to Sokcho and Gangwon-do area than Seoul.
It's like, we've got to go snowboarding. We've got to go play at the rivers, play in the ocean, go catch some fish, go for a bike ride. And people are like really into their hobbies. And, a lot more hobbies.
So, I mean, you love the nature outdoors, right?
Yeah. So gardening, right? Everybody's talking about their garden and planting something and got something going on.
So it sounds like the pace of life is a little bit slower.
So slow, so chill, so nice.
Can't garden in a high rise. I mean, you could have a little.
I mean, we gardened around here a lot. But yeah,
luckily has a little bit.
It's and it used to have a lot more.
Yeah.
So did you like staying in Pyeongtaek? I mean, you've been here for a while.
I think Pyeongtaek is really super interesting, and I really enjoyed my time here. It grew too big for me. It's too
Can you explain that?
Hectic. When the Samsung these days, people don't realize it, but like there's almost no people from Pyeongtaek left in Pyeongtaek. Everybody got priced out. our land prices were the same as Gangnam. It was pricey. Yeah, it was a crazy boom. And when Samsung came in and like foreigners here in the military here don't realize that Koreans are having the same problems as them. Nobody knows much about Pyeongtaek. The social communities haven't been rebuilt since everybody's come from another area. A lot of people go home on the weekends. So it went from like a very lively, local, like kind of gritty punk vibe to being like people from the city who are mad about being here for Samsung.
When did they come in?
Samsung, they built around our
recent.
house. It's very recent.
Recent. And it's still ongoing, actually.
Yeah, it's ongoing.
So
they're on their 5th factory.
Yeah, we can see it from our house, like our
Yeah.
neighborhood when we walk by. Yeah,
So that's the real reason that Pyeongtaek grew. That's what Pyeongtaek is about. Is
not just the military.
The military has a very little impact on Pyeongtaek. I don't know if you know this, but I know people who live in Pyeongtaek and don't know where the bases are. A lot of people in Pyeongtaek, they don't know where the bases are, what happens there. Like I worked at a school that could see the base, and they didn't really know that was the base.
That's such an interesting take because I mean, I'm kind of we're both very much in this community, and I feel like the bases are like central, hub.
It's very central.
But I guess for
non-military, and you're not anywhere that people go. And so they've just like heard about it over there.
Yeah, and I guess it makes sense because like the people that are inside Camp Humphreys, the military base, is not local people. They're coming from all over the place. And while there's a lot of Korean visitors, those visitors are coming in because they know someone inside, not necessarily because they're local.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, so it's not necessarily drawing local crowds, although it doesn't mean they don't draw them.
It's not that they don't.
Yeah, it's not that they don't, but like they're not the majority of it.
No.
So they still exist. And obviously the foreigner population has gotten much bigger because a lot of the northern insulation came down.
Yes.
And we have the higher headquarters located here. So it does draw a lot of attention.
And a lot of
that.
but we have a lot more foreign population than the US military.
Mm-hmm.
There's like a lot more foreigners here than that are like us.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
Most of them are Chinese.
Yeah,
but like
Asian.
the international population separate from the military is like 40 to 50,000 people. So we have our whole world.
Right.
That is not, but a lot of that is
really
getting mixed
too.
with the military because there's no Cheonggukjang. So a lot of the foreign population are around the base because there's no Cheonggukjang. And they can afford the apartments because they don't need 30 million won for their family's house. It's monthly with low deposits. So that is more of why the other foreign population end up around the base.
So interesting.
Is because of the lack of Cheonggukjang.
I noticed that because our first guest, Robert, he's Vietnamese American, and he would know like all these Vietnamese owned restaurants or
the Vietnamese
business
food is great. Yes, the Vietnamese grocery stores and I love the grocery shopping. The Russian groceries, Vietnamese, Thai, Chinese,
definitely more international options.
So many countries' grocery stores, like right here. And I love it.
Yeah, even the Xijang, right? The market.
Yeah, the Xijang is filled with great options. So I love that aspect of Pyeongtaek.
It's more international.
It just became socially like harder to live because Pyeongtaek is not very Korean. I don't know how to explain this.
Yeah, no, I agree. I feel like we're in this bubble, and that's what I lived in Seoul for a year teaching English. I was like the opposite of I guess I'm the majority in terms of what people from outside Korea that wanting to visit here, they want to like go to Seoul or like what's happening. So I did teach English in Seoul, and I feel like it's such a different pace of life than being out there versus living here.
Yes.
We're like in this bubble. At least, especially we're in this military bubble. But even outside the military, I could see that it's very international. Yeah.
And we're very involved, like in the broader international community. So Harry and I went to graduate school here too. Okay. We went to Namso University for our graduate degrees, and so over there we got more involved with like the Uzbek community and Nepali and like different, Filipino communities through other students and our professors. And I've just always, when I first came out to the countryside is also silos. So, nobody from each community really interacted with the other foreigner community. And I wanted to break that down with our information. So we spent a lot of time, I've been we went for my birthday, we ended up at a very rowdy Nepali celebration downtown once. Like we try to make friends with everybody. And bring everybody into South of Seoul. Like, what information do you need? How can we help you? What can we do to support you? And also getting other international, like getting people to the Russian restaurants, to the Vietnamese owned restaurants, to the amazing Thai restaurants that are all over, not just near base. Like, we want people to, you can get almost any kind of food here. You can get, just like, I don't know. There's just so much. I have a blog about that where it's like 100 countries food within like 30 minutes of Pyeongtaek or something like that.
That's a lot. I'm gonna have to check that out.
Yeah, it's a really it's amazing with the kind of stuff that you can get out here.
Yeah, I think it's those guides are super helpful because we went to this like Russian restaurant, but because her husband, she's Korean American, but her husband's Korean Russian, so he would know. Like we would have never known because there's no English sign.
It's right in Tunpo.
Tunpo has great ones.
Yeah,
his favorite is Mr. Cook. By the way.
No idea. It could have said Mr. Cook. We would know. We would not know. It could have been Mr. Cook.
And the groceries are amazing. But there's a bunch of really smaller ones too that are all around there, and they're very hole in the wall, and the food is fantastic.
Yeah, hole in the wall is a good way to put it.
Is there any hidden gem? I know we kind of spoke about it, like around Pyeongtaek, that you're willing to share?
I share everything that I find around Pyeongtaek. My favorite kinds of food to eat in Pyeongtaek, the African restaurants are awesome. And I'm not saying that, Africa is a country, but there's different countries represented here.
I only know I've had Ethiopian food and
Nigeria. There's Nigerian food.
Is there Nigerian food? Because we were talking about our previous guest, Nomi. She's Nigerian descent. And I was trying to let her know we might have one, but we don't know.
Absolutely. But some of them are serving just like a variety of countries' food on their menu.
I see.
Because there's quite a few African immigrants in Pyeongtaek, especially in Songtan. There's quite some of them, some of the kids went to our schools that we taught at, and we with the integration programs, we met a lot of the moms and community there.
I had no idea.
Yeah. And the community is spreading over also now into Humphreys area, but especially over by Osan Air Force Base, there's a pretty substantial immigrant community from a variety of African countries.
Oh, interesting. I had no idea.
Wow.
Yeah,
so same. No idea.
Whenever I want like peanut stew and fufu, there's some great spots.
You're gonna have to let us know.
Then also what we come over here for is the Russian restaurants. My brother and my family was active in Russia before it even collapsed. My family was working over there.
Oh, I see.
So I've been very involved with like Russian culture. My brother lived in Russia for like 30 years. My nephews grew up there.
You're so like well traveled.
Having that like right here, like because like at that point it feels like my home food, right? I need it.
Yeah,
I need
it's
it.
comfort food.
It's comfort food for me. I've just had it in my life since the 80s, and then so we come here for Russian food, African food, and then Thai food. There's some really great Thai restaurants, Vietnamese restaurants. What was it that we've gotten really into lately? Which country was it, Harry? I don't know. There's so many. There's just so much. What? Cambodian. Really good Cambodian food here, and Burmese, and Myanmar. Yeah, Burma, Myanmar. There's like 5 of those restaurants by AK Plaza.
Oh wow! Really?
Yeah, and it's excellent. Yeah.
I literally have no idea.
I need to explore
I don't
more.
even know what I would ask if I go there.
We just go in and everybody's like,
What do you do?
and they're like, are you sure? And we're like, we're sure. And we
Are you
say,
lost?
what's your favorite? And then we start there.
Mm.
Okay.
And then we develop a palette for
That's a good
like
place to
what
start.
we're enjoying. And then we'll go to the different ones and try the different, and then pretty soon we're addicted.
Wow, that's amazing. Because we noticed that our friend Robert, he did take us to a couple like very hidden spots of like Vietnamese like bars and restaurants, and they wouldn't even serve us until he started speaking Vietnamese.
Mhm.
So I don't know if they're like trying to like gatekeep, or maybe they're just
No, it's
uncomfortable.
just nerve wracking
Sure,
because it's like, are they going to speak my language?
Are they
Am I
like
gonna
it?
be able to explain the food? Are they gonna want to eat it? Because they're not serving you what we get in America.
Yeah,
true.
They're serving you the food they want to eat from home.
That's
Okay,
true.
which makes you kind of insecure because it's not for public consumption. They have not changed this taste for you. Like Vietnamese food in America is delicious. It also does not taste like Vietnam.
Yeah.
Okay, it's completely different. Love them both.
Yeah.
But they're not the same.
It's a different experience.
It's a different experience, Korean food in America, Korean food in Korea, even if it's in Koreatown, are very different experience. And that's okay. I love that. Like one of my problems, I guess, that I get riled up about, like, will I get myself canceled? Is that people are like, these tacos don't taste like San Antonio. We're not in San Antonio.
Yeah, I don't think you're gonna get that here.
We're in, and then, I'm specifically not saying a place in Mexico. Okay. Because, that's its own different regional foods. Like I don't eat Mexican food in Korea to eat Mexican food. I eat Mexican food in Korea to eat what Koreans think Mexican food is. Because I'm in Korea and that's what we're learning.
Yeah.
You're right.
And I enjoy it for that. If I wanted Mexican food, I would go to Mexico.
And it's interesting. So I've been to Vietnam for the first time, and I realized even Vietnamese food in Vietnam is different from what I had in the US, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Completely
and
different.
In my mind, it's easy for me to say, oh, which one's better or worse, but they're just
There's
different.
no better.
They're just different. Yeah.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. Your idea of better, people understand that like the whole world isn't created by a corporation. So if I grow my carrots in Vietnam versus America versus Korea, they taste different. So the food will taste different.
Sure.
So your core ingredients, if you're actually cooking food from scratch, will quintessentially, if I ferment my kimchi in America versus I ferment my kimchi in Korea, it will taste different because they're different microorganisms. You can make it exactly the same, it will be different. So when you're traveling the world, you are learning about microorganisms, you're learning about agriculture, like all of these things. And you're learning how it tastes different. Also, if I eat the same bowl of Vietnamese food in America after eating American food versus eating the exact same bowl in Vietnam after eating Vietnam food, I will also perceive it differently because my palate has been changed by what is eaten before and after. So
That's
you
a
have
good
to understand that like you're going to think they're different bowls based on what you ate before and after. So to go around the world and being like, this isn't what I had in another place, it's just insane.
Yeah.
Like, just be present
Yeah.
with where you are and experience, like, because I'll tell you what, saying things I shouldn't on a podcast, I think American food is disgusting now. I don't want to eat it. And I'm not, that's my brain.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's fine.
Yeah.
It's great.
Your
It is
palates have
lovely.
changed.
My palate has changed so much. And my brain's perception of what I'm eating that for me, I just can't even get through it.
Wow.
What are
That's a big
some
change.
what other foreigners would perceive as an advanced Korean food that you really like?
Cheonggukjang?
Oh, like Cheonggukjang?
Okay.
I smell that and I'm like, that's so good.
Oh, do you eat
I
that?
listen to
Do you eat Cheonggukjang?
I don't hate it,
Yeah.
but I don't necessarily seek it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that smell does hit me
Yeah.
pretty hard. Like we
Yes.
went to like those taxi driver restaurant
Yeah.
with my kids.
Cheonggukjang?
And they were one of the daily special that day was Cheonggukjang, and our kids couldn't stand it. They were like, "What is that smell? Somebody farted."
Yes.
They're
Exactly.
like, "Oh, I can't eat this."
You know,
So-
it's like when
Not shop.
like when I
Not
walk
shop.
into like the mountains of France and I walk into a grocery store and it just smells like socks. I'm hungry. That's going to be some good cheese.
Yeah. Yes.
You know, like my brain is just like, that's what I want. So I smell Cheonggukjang and I'm like, yes,
Wow.
that's, you know, the only thing that I have never, two things I have not adapted to: skate, the fermented skate,
Yeah, not a-
and bondegi.
Oh,
bandegi.
okay.
Bondegi.
I actually like bondegi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one
And
thing.
that's a texture
Sounds
thing for me.
delicious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with what it is.
Mhm.
I just don't like the
Yeah.
texture.
It's probably, well, for me, I grew up eating it. So even my wife's like, "It smells disgusting." I'm like, "Smells fine."
Yeah.
But
It smells fine to me.
she says it smells like formaldehyde. I
Interesting.
don't know.
Yeah, I can't do the skate.
But Cheonggukjang, that's
But
advanced.
Cheonggukjang.
That is a pretty advanced.
That's
one.
like,
I'm actually pretty
yeah.
impressed that you can handle that.
Yeah, because most non-Koreans would know doenjangjjigae, right? Like
Yeah,
soybean,
and
but
that's-
it's like times 100.
Sure,
That's how you
sure.
can kind of think
Like
of it.
there's nothing that is not perfection about doenjangjjigae.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
that is just, to me, well, to our household, that's the perfect meal.
Do you make that at home?
I don't,
Okay.
because other people make it better.
Ah.
And if I leave Korea, I will make it at home.
Okay.
But here, I'm going down to my favorite grandma-owned restaurant, and I'm eating hers.
That's true.
She got it right. And oh my goodness, you guys. Sorry, we're talking. We had one spot. She brought out this kimchi that was amazing. And we were like, is this Beck kimchi? It was 10-year-old fermented red kimchi turned white from 10 years of fermentation.
What?
That's crazy.
I don't think I ever heard of
Crazy.
that.
I've never heard of that.
Me either.
Yeah.
And we asked her like 4 different ways. So she was frustrated because we didn't believe her. And she's like, this is regular kimchi fermented for 10 years. So
Wow, that's crazy. I know. I think we're gonna wrap up
Yes,
in a little
sorry.
bit, but no.
Too
This has
catty.
been so amazing. Hearing you
That's
talk
a
about
lot of good
yeah,
information. We should
Yeah,
link
for sure.
these in the
Yeah.
description.
yeah, for sure. We'll link South of Seoul blog. When the app comes out, you gotta let us know when that's done.
yeah, that's my plan this year, is get that finished up.
Is there anything else you wanna any shameless plug? Anything you wanna shout out?
Yeah, just check out our blog. If you are living in South Korea, if you want to move here, you had mentioned, I think, that we have virtual welcome packets, we call them. And we divide them up based on if you're a international student, if you're want to work as an English teacher, versus if you're U.S. military, because everybody needs different information.
Mhm.
And so we actually don't do just like foreigner blogs. We do blogs based very specifically on your situation, because information changes
That's
so
very
much.
helpful.
So get on there, look at things, follow us on Instagram, follow us on Facebook. If you're in Pyeongtaek, join Pyeongtaek Food and Fun and Pyeongtaek Living. You'll get so much information.
Yeah.
But otherwise, everybody leave her alone.
Yes. Don't message me
Don't
personally.
DM her, okay?
That's
Leave her alone.
facts.
Yes.
That,
Oh
yeah.
my gosh. Thank you so much, Lanae, for
Absolutely.
joining us on our podcast. It was wonderful.
Thank you for having
sharing
me.
Your stories.
This has been a blast. I'm
Yeah.
almost Korean, but I learned
Yes.
something else today. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
One funny thing is after you've been here for 15 years, and they're like, "Oh, you're a foreigner? Yeah, you speak Korean? Yeah, you're Korean."
Yes. I think she's definitely, I feel like she's more Korean than
I
us.
know, right?
Oh, no.
Well, yeah, it's been a great episode, and yeah, we'll catch you guys on our next episode. So thank you again.
Thank you so much.
All right. See you guys later.